Running into Heimer Nora is tilting me. So we're back on quiet as Denmother somehow. I think that, you know, Nora and timelines and stuff, it definitely, we're back in a meta game where there's a little bit more meta playable RNG than normal. Do I just keep the Bjerg? What do I even want in this matchup? I think we can play it kind of slow. Karma, Trundle, Lissandra. I have no idea what this is.
What could you ever teach me?
I mean, at least there's always pirates. It's not like, honestly, pirates is just, it's just a little bit out of line. Like, what it does doesn't seem that ridiculous. Nora beats pirates. You can't open attack. Pirates don't really care about open attacking these days. Like Riptide pirates doesn't really care that much. You can't deal damage. I think that playing that deck into Nora probably does shift your it probably does shift the way that you approach the matchup very heavily, but from what I've seen, it does not seem like that deck struggles or should struggle. I'm actually fine with Nora's RNG because it's face up. I maybe I'm just unlucky. I keep getting Nora where like she summons a bunch of elusives, or like if she just gets vanilla stats, it's just whatever. But when she gets keywords like, oh, suddenly this unit is fearsome and they get like extra damage, or I had a Nora get the quick attack Yordle, the Noxian one with the mustache. I can't remember the name of that card, but the quick attack 4/2 that like I just had to hold that while it like traded into my for free. And like Nora gets a lot of elusives, and so it's just like that extra chip damage. Just, oh man, this is rough. I kind of want Flash Freeze. Yeah, I'll just play Ashe. I've got Three Sisters Flash Freeze with the Rhyme Fang Wolf. I think that Nora versus Heimer is probably very well positioned. Nora Heimer versus Aggro is probably very well positioned, but I don't imagine the matchup to be like that egregiously unwinnable. I thought my opponent was really trying to bluff with Twin Disciplines there. I'm always gonna call you out if you do stuff like that to me, though. Rip, they burned to deny. Versus Ionia, it's always correct to develop. We don't really have anything that's like spooky to develop, though. Because, I mean, they could have, like, Concussive Palm and stuff, I guess. We don't have a lot of Frostbites under our belt. So I'll just open attack. And then I'll just play Rhyme Tusk Shaman. I thought the purpose of Nora Heimer was literally to beat pirates in Kennen. Honestly, I'm just saying, I saw Mo climb, like, 400 LP with pirates. And he posted that the deck actually does not beat pirates. And you have to remember is that, like, Ember Maiden, that's wild as fuck. But you have to remember is that you can come up with a deck that seems favored initially, but then when the deck that you're targeting learns the matchup and how to adapt to it, suddenly it's not favored anymore, right? Like, a really good example is Aurelia Azir. There was like 4 or 5 separate attempts of, oh, this deck beats Aurelia Azir, check it out. And then 3, maybe 4 days later, Aurelia Azir either A, learned the matchup, or B, changed like 1 or 2 cards in their deck to account for that matchup, and suddenly it was back to being like massively unfavored. This is some super hater stuff, though. The double Ember Maiden, I really don't know what's going on. And Blighted Ravine, bruh. Okay, we'll just wipe the board. It's fine. Wait, does this trigger first, or does Ember Maiden trigger first? I think the Ember Maidens trigger first. If they're receiving the attack token, Maiden, then landmark? Oh, because it's a round start, and then countdowns happen. I guess I'll just start playing big boys. My opponent has Shimon Wind, but I don't know if I actually care about that. I mean, this could be some sort of new take on Field Amina. Some sort of just uber control, and you have Lysandra as a win condition to give you the Watcher. I can't imagine I'm, like, massively favored in versus Ionia, of course. They did burn a deny, but lists like this like to run 3. More ramping. There's a threat of karma. Like, I don't even know what this deck is up to be perfectly honest. That's honestly really absurd that they catch me without a frostbite. So I can Babbling Beard and maybe try to get Ash here. Cool. Thank you very much. I think the play might actually be Crystal Arrow Frozen in Fear. I can play Ash and Frozen in Fear.
I will unite the Freljord.
It's not like that threatening though. And I have to open attack because I think in a deck like this there's always a really big chance they're playing like Mina Swiftfoot. And if I were to top deck like a Harsh Winds or something, I would be incredibly goated. Flash Freeze will do. Flash Freeze, Frostbite here. Then I Control Chant to take attack away from Shimon Wind so it can't block. Just try to force a lethal here. There's like Twin Discipline and Tellstones, Homecoming. They have second Shimon Wind here, so they do get a blocker. Concussive Palm we haven't seen yet. They could just be main decking Harsh Winds. So I'm willing to try to go for a more aggressive push here. And you'd think with how many games of this deck I've played, I would have drawn more than, I think, 4 Quietus in total. Huh. Oh, man, just barely. Just barely. Probably at, like, the very highest levels of play, you don't do that well, but... The other thing you gotta remember as well is, like... The deck still has nuance to it. You know what I mean? Like, super OG Pirates, you could just, you know, play on curve and do your thing, and it still has that ability, like, oh, I drew 3 rear guards and you die now type deal, but... Like, sometimes they just outdraw you and you lose, right? But... My main gripe with this deck is that even if you draw well and you're playing into them in the early mid game and you're fighting for your life,
Never met anyone like you.
and you're fighting for your life, they can still just go, well, as long as you don't kill me in 4 turns, I can just play towards Decimate. I didn't develop last turn because the Iceveil Archer doesn't have good trades, and I wanted them to just hit me for 3, right? By giving them a good open attack, I tempt them into open attacking rather than developing.
They're out there. I'll spot them. Teeth big as tombstones.
And because they have the capability of playing a much slower game, they can play it scouty where they can just summon Misfortune and let her chill on the back line and do stuff like that, right?
Never lost a
Same thing with Twisted Fate, right? Like,
Who says I don't share?
if I attack, they could trade and then maybe make it rain to clear. I'm gonna pass. And again, the fact that this deck has a realistic threat of leveling Twisted Fate just, I think, is a fantastic indication of how slow they can play this matchup.
They're coming. Hide.
It's probably Troll Chant here. In these aggro decks, it's always a habit of mine to keep Twisted Fate alive, but I don't even think that that's really correct these days, right? Because then they're just like, okay, cool, I'm just going to let him sit there and eventually become a threat that you need to answer. And I can't play Rime Tusk Shaman because of Riptide Sermon. So I'm just going to Tavern Keeper to heal a little bit.
Oh, you and your stories.
This isn't a deck with, like, true inevitability. I need to be a little bit more proactive when it comes to frost biting and actually developing threats. Yep, there's Sermon. Yo, what's up, Sunkissed? Looking shiny and chrome dome today. I know, the lighting in here is pretty harsh. Hey, Biso, what up? No one's playing Avalanche anymore? In this deck, it probably could be worth maybe running like a Bellows Breath or something. But Avalanche has been pretty mediocre for a super long time.
Bring me the calm of an ice-shrouded world.
I went to a job dating today at the competition of my current job. Yeah, awesome. I'm glad that you're actually trying to find some place that can, you know, properly compensate you and appreciate your skills.
Let's take this outside.
You get a sub and I get my Amazon packages a couple days sooner. Amen. I could go for Flash Freeze here. Yeah. My opponent can counter this with Eye of Nagakaboros to make this into a 5/5, but I think that's fine. It might be a bug that Senna's speeding up all the stances, but... Oh, they're just going to go for Fervor? Okay. Fast speed buffs. That's hilarious. Do you prefer Duelist Tool or Duelist GG? I kind of missed the boat on Duelist GG because at the time it was pretty early on in its development.
Like a fish in water.
Winter, take
And they didn't have the even though they were like putting in the old, it was like based around old Duelist, they didn't include any of the cards or decks that I wanted to play at the time. So I kind of just didn't pay attention to it. And now, when it comes to Duelist 2, I think that it is a very interesting concept, but I am not entirely sure. I think that they do need to, like, fix... I think they do need to fix Songhai. Duelist 2 is going to have its own problems. Is Duelist a figurine turn-based game? Yes, it's the one where you summon your units to a board. Now that Twisted Fate's kind of getting stacked up, we're going to go ahead and take him out here. Yeah, you're summoning your units to a grid, to a chessboard, and you have to move them around in order to attack what you want to attack. Another Noxian Fervor. Yeah, I should have known, because they played second Zap.
Ice runs in our veins.
I probably have to run, like, Withering Mist in this deck. Figure out what to cut for it. Look at that, just super disrespectful red card. They don't even care about the gold card.
My life for these lands.
Charmed, I'm sure.
My trouble.
So I've got Harsh Winds to stop the Spray Fin.
I have my orders.
Ye started without me.
The frost reveals all to me.
Through the coral.
And so we need, like, Ash into, like, the best open attack of all time. Or would Rhymefang Denmother do it? Might be big enough. God damn it. Ugh.